Hello everybody, 2014 college previews resume, and I promise you we are going to get them cranking at a higher level. But let's talk, first of all, about Seattle. Of course, talking about the University of Washington, Seattle, the home of grunge music, as you just heard at the beginning. Of course, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, and of course the band at the beginning of the show, Temple of the Dog. It's a combination of Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. You gotta love Eddie Vedder. The University of Washington. Before Steve Sarkisian got there in 2008, that team was winless, okay? 2009 marked the Sarkisian era, and in 5 years, he had them not only winning a lot more than they were losing, but he was able to get terrific talent, especially as his tenure there progressed. It was no surprise, by the way, that Sarkisian left Washington to go to USC this past year. That was no surprise at all. That was pretty much, I would think, his dream job to go to USC. He's got so many ties there. So if you're Washington, what do? Well, you hire somebody that can make an immediate impact and can continue the great philosophy of recruiting and maybe add some wrinkles to the offense as well. Hire Chris Peterson. Chris Peterson, we know, was absolutely phenomenal at Boise State. And I know that Dan Hawkins and Dirk Cutter did good things there, but Chris Peterson outdid them all. 92 wins in just 8 seasons at Boise. And, of course, a couple of major bowl wins, including one against my Sooners in the 2007 Fiesta Bowl. That still stings to this day. But enough about that. Peterson knows how to win, but now he has to come to Washington to try to do what he did at Boise State, and that is win consistently. Winning in the Pac-12 obviously is going to be a lot tougher than anything he ever had to do in the past at Boise. Not to say he can't do it, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. And I never personally thought that Peterson was ever going to leave Boise because he had coaching offers so many times in the past and turned them down. But I think this is ideal for him. He gets to stay in a very nice part of the country. It's not too far from Idaho, is Seattle. Again, this is now the Pacific Northwest truly, and it is obviously a bigger school. It's more money, but also a challenge to prove to everybody that Peterson can win in a major conference, just like he did in the past with Boise in the challenges that they had. Now, defensively for Washington, last year, 22.8 points a game is what they gave up. That was 29th in the country, and they returned nearly everybody, including the front 7. Remember this name, Hau'oll Kikaha. That's the defensive end, Kikaha. Great close down speed, knows how to tackle, and he's a veteran. So you got him, and also too, Danny Shelton. Thought maybe this guy was going to turn pro. Sure, he probably contemplated it. Decided to come back another year. Sheldon, defensive tackle, a nose tackle, 6'2", 332 pounds. A load right there. The linebacking core, they're intact with Shaq Thompson leading the way at linebacker. Secondary, though, not as experienced. Only one full-time starter back. That's Marcus Peters at the corner. A redshirt freshman starting at the other corner. That's Jermaine Kelly. And the safeties are going to be fairly new as well. But speaking of a safety, a big land for Chris Peterson. Even though he hadn't been there very long in February, getting a big recruit at safety. That's Buda Baker, who is a great player as far as offense and defense goes. Initially, it looked like he was going to commit to Oregon, but with the Chris Peterson hire at Washington, decided to come to Washington. So that's a guy that could play right away. Offensively, nearly everybody on the offensive line's back. Very important, including the left tackle, Micah Hatchie. Now, here's the bad news for Washington, though. Talk about almost everybody back defensively, and you have an offensive line that will have almost everybody returning. Now, here's the bad news. Tight end isn't back. That's Austin Seferian-Jenkins. You might say, well, big deal. And it is a big deal because he was the Mackey Award winner for the #1 tight end in the country, All-American. They're going to miss his height. They're going to miss his reliability. Also, Bishop Sankey, one of the school's all-time best rushers, came off a season in which he broke the single-season record for rushing and also career rushing touchdown leader as well. So he's going to be missed. That's Bishop Sankey. And I know that Keith Price was not an all-star quarterback, but he was with the program 5 years. He started a lot of games, so you're going to miss that leadership. Speaking of quarterback, it looks like Siler Miles, he's going to get the call at quarterback. Of course, he had to deal with the off-the-field issue as well earlier this year with an assault. It does look like he's going to be able to play this year, but he will miss the first game. That's at Hawaii. They should still win that game without him. He's listed right now as the #1 quarterback, but they've got other quarterbacks that could very well see playing time as well, as many as 4 right now that really don't have much separation from the other, including Jeff Lindquist, Trey Williams, and also Casey Carter-Samuels. A lot of quarterbacks on this team, but really none of them are proven. As far as the receiving core, Kasen Williams, Might remember last year, midseason, had a serious leg injury, but now he looks like he is ready to go. Receiving core, not the most experienced in the Pac-12, not really. And the kicking and punting unit, that's going to be an area of inexperience as well. So special teams, we'll see if that area can be one of a strength. Right now, again, they're inexperienced there. As far as the schedule for Washington, 13 games on it. 13-game schedule, which means only one bye week. We mentioned the season opener at Hawaii, the final Saturday of August, I believe. And again, you're not going to have silent miles for that one. But Washington has more talent than Hawaii, as long as you don't get caught up in the Hawaii atmosphere. Remember, you're there to go to Hawaii to win, so try not to get caught up too much in the climate of Hawaii. It's nice to go there, but it's going to be rotten if you don't win the game. The next 3 games after that for the Huskies should all be W's. They're against absolute nobodies. Eastern Washington, Illinois, they stink. And you're going to be playing, I think, Georgia State, a brand new school, I believe, to FBS. Conference opener, defending Pac-12 champion Stanford, but you get them in your backyard. Late September, if there's ever a time to knock off the Cardinal, it's now. They're not as experienced as in previous years. David Shaw's team will be ready, but again, this is not one of his most experienced teams. Then your bye week comes, and then it goes. And then after that, you only get, I believe, 3 more home games after that the rest of the season. 2 straight road games. At Cal should be a win. At Oregon won't be. Oregon's too good. And then you host Arizona State. That won't be a picnic because the Sun Devils can move the football. You go to Colorado the following week, should be a win. You host UCLA after that in early November. You go to Arizona. That's a dangerous game. And then the last 2 games could be trouble. Hosting Oregon State. And then at Washington State, who got to a bowl game a year ago, Mike Leach has things in Pullman going pretty well. Game for the Apple Cup to close out the season. Best case scenario, 11-2 is what I have for Washington. Look, they have a lot of experience back. When you have an offensive line that played as well as they did last year with nearly everybody returning, and a front 7 that should keep Washington in virtually every game, you're going to have a shot at double-digit wins. And remember, it's a 13-game schedule, so you have an extra opportunity to get double digits and wins even before the bowl game. Worst case scenario, it could be a 7-6 season. That's the disadvantage of a 13-game schedule, is the fact that you only get 1 bye week and you play so many of those home games early. If you lose 1 game before you even get to the Stanford game, that's a sign of trouble because those first 4 games should not be very difficult for Washington. And you do play most of the heavyweights from the Pac-12 in on the schedule, with the exception of USC. They're not on there. And you don't get Utah. That would have been nice for them to get Utah, but they didn't. Again, you play a lot of the heavyweights. Likely, I have Washington going 9-4, finishing 3rd in the Pac-12 North. I think with the defense is going to play well enough to where, again, I think they'll remain in about every game they play in. Offensively, I'm not so sure how they're going to do at quarterback. The ground game's not proven yet. Again, I think they're going to miss Sankey. And we'll see how the special teams, too, does as well. But 9-4 with a shot at 10 wins after the bowl game. And I think Chris Peterson was a good hire for Washington. That's my look at the Huskies. Another preview coming soon. Bye, everybody.